One of my favorite things about running a YouTube channel and creating content for you guys is reading your comments. And even though I'm not able to respond to each and every single one of them individually, I always try to read them. And one of the comments slash questions that's been coming up quite a bit is you guys are very interested in certifications. And at first I didn't really understand why. All of a sudden I've been getting a lot of comments about this, but it dawned on me it's back to school time. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are settling into your university or school or whatever it is. And certifications, that's just something that's been on your mind. And I thought it'd be cool for me to make a video about this to try to help you guys, since there does seem to be interest. Now, I don't want to clickbait you guys and make you wait for an entire video to get me to answer the question that was asked in the title of the video: do certifications matter? And the answer is yes, they definitely do matter. Now, I certainly hope you'll watch the rest of the video because I'm going to give you my opinions on why I feel that way. But first of all, the obvious question is, why am I qualified to talk about this? I obviously have a Linux channel. That's the majority of what I talk about. But I don't really talk about my personal life or my career very often. So you guys may not know this, but I actually am involved in the hiring process in my company because I am a director. I'm actually the director of the cloud services team for my company. So I am qualified to speak about this because I am involved in the process of hiring people. So I think that my feedback will be valuable to you guys coming from that perspective. However, that's not the only perspective I'm going to use for this video, because I'm also an educator. So there's two perspectives about certifications. There's the HR/hiring manager side of things. And then there's the education, teacher, instructor side of things. Because if you ask a college instructor, do certifications matter? You'll get one answer. You ask a hiring manager, you'll get something else. In fact, no two hiring managers will probably agree on it either. But I'm going to give you guys both perspectives that I think will probably help you make the decision: is an IT certification worth getting in 2019 or whatever year it happens to be that you're watching this video? Because IT changes and this concept doesn't. So first of all, I'm going to wear my IT director hat in this part of the video, and I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts about Linux certification, basically IT certification in general, how it applies to the workforce, at least here in the United States, because I'm qualified to speak on that. Again, I am involved in the process of hiring, so that's where this is coming from. So, do certifications matter when it comes to your career, when it comes to your current job or getting a new job? And unfortunately, the answer is it depends on who you're interviewing with. Some interviewers or hiring managers, they hate certifications because to them, it just means that somebody can take a test. Someone's ability to take a test does not determine their ability to do the job. So some hiring managers just basically write off certifications as useless right then and there, whereas other hiring managers feel like there's a lot of value and it actually does matter. So unfortunately, I can't tell you that all hiring managers like certifications, all hiring managers don't like them, or any percentage one way or the other. Because, we're all different. But what it all comes down to is, your portfolio. The bigger your portfolio, the more marketable you are as an employee. Now, that portfolio could include a handful of certifications. It could include a master's degree or a PhD. Maybe you have your GitHub account on there and you have examples of all the scripts and configurations that you've written. Whatever your portfolio has, the more the better, because that's really what matters at the end of the day. In that situation, a certification becomes another thing to add to your portfolio. Now, all things considered, that might help you get the job because maybe the other candidate that you're up against has a portfolio that looks exactly like yours. And maybe that certification is something that's going to be a tiebreaker in your favor. So it definitely makes sense to get the certifications, even if your hiring manager or your company doesn't really see it that way. I'll get into when I wear my educator hat here in a few minutes. I'll give you my perspective there on why I still think it matters, even if your hiring manager couldn't possibly care less. Now, speaking of portfolio, that's going to be a big thing. If you are working in any IT job, I don't care what it is. You could be an entry-level IT admin. You definitely need a good portfolio. And one of the easiest ways to do that, especially if you're already in school, you're already learning, is put everything that you do on GitHub. Make sure that the hiring manager can associate your GitHub account to you as a candidate, as a person. You know, if your screen name is Ultimate Dragon 86, that's cool, but honestly, if they Google your name, they're probably not going to find it if that's the case. So, I mean, you could probably put a link to it on your resume or something like that if that's the case, or maybe create another GitHub account. You probably want a GitHub account actually that's been around a while so they don't see that you created it 2 days ago, that it's established. So basically create a GitHub account and put all your stuff in there. Either link to it somewhere in your profile, you know, include a blurb in your resume or something so that the hiring manager can go in there and see examples of your work. That's extremely important. Now, the topic at hand, though, is certifications. So certifications do have value, but again, it depends on the hiring manager, but definitely do get them. If you're interested in learning something, you definitely should get certifications. And if only because that helps you learn. Again, I'll wear that hat in just a moment, but the short answer is it depends on the hiring manager, but regardless, you know, I do feel that it's worth getting certifications because if nothing else, you will learn things along the way. Now, as far as the hiring manager role of this topic goes, the other factor is pay, because these certification programs, they will advertise, you know, the average person that's certified makes X% more salary per year. That might be true. The average person who has certifications very well might make more than the average person who isn't. Now, it's important that you take that comment or that marketing blurb and you think about it realistically. Does that mean you're going to get a raise? Maybe, but honestly, if your current company, if you're already working in IT, it really depends on if they have an official policy that if someone has a certain certification, that they get a certain pay grade. And a lot of companies don't have such a policy. So you might feel like, you know, you got this awesome certification and you deserve a raise. You know, are you going to get one? Honestly, probably not. To be completely upfront with you guys, you probably won't get a raise. Now, if you work for an awesome company like I do, that maybe might be considered, but when it all comes down to it, your pay or whatever pay you'll get all comes down to what your employer is willing to pay you. If they're not willing to pay you more, or it's not in the budget to pay you more, having a certification doesn't mean you're going to get a raise. So it's important to think about that realistically. If that's the only reason you're going for a certification, then you might want to take another look and see whether or not that's worth it. Now, what a certification does do is it makes you more marketable. So if you're not working in IT currently, but you want to get your foot in the door, having certifications could actually help you get your foot in the door. And if you have at your current company, you know, there's a new position that's opened up. Maybe, for example, the cloud team has an opening for somebody there and you just got an AWS certification. Maybe that might help you get considered for that job. Ultimately depends on your interviewing skills and some other factors, but it could at least get the conversation started. And maybe that's all you need to get that job. Doesn't guarantee you're going to get it, but at least it'll get that conversation started. So basically, yeah, getting certifications, it definitely does have value in the workforce. It may not be exactly how they're advertising the value to be. Getting a certification isn't a magical thing where you get a 20% increase in, or whatever percentage they're advertising in your pay automatically on account of having certifications. They help open doors. That's what certifications do from an employment perspective. And if you are not working in IT, then your portfolio is going to really matter. The more things you have in your portfolio, the better. But again, it goes down to the hiring manager. You could have a hiring manager that requires a master's degree. And maybe you have 10 years experience and you can definitely do the job, but you don't have a master's degree. regardless of whether or not you can do the job, that requirement, they might filter you out and never have a conversation with you, because if your resume or your profile doesn't show that you have a master's degree and that's what they're looking for, then their system is going to basically cancel you out. Now, that same company might not care what certifications you have because they're only interested in your education. Other companies, they couldn't possibly care less what degree you have. They're looking for someone who's certified. And if you have those certifications, you're going to get in the door, possibly. And if they want a certain education, then maybe you have to have that. But if they don't care about the education, then they care about the certifications. Well, there you go. Now, if you have both, the degree and the certifications, then you're a candidate in both situations. So just keep in mind that the bigger your portfolio, the better. So now I'm going to switch over to wear my quote unquote educator hat. And I'm going to give you the educator perspective of certifications, which I think is going to be even more important. Now, just to let you guys know, I have achieved 10 certifications. So I'm definitely qualified in either place to basically give you guys my advice on certifications, because I've achieved 10 of them. And I've also written, 4 Linux books on top of that. So I study the market, and I'm going to give you some opinions from the educator point of view. Now, given the fact that I said that I have achieved 10 certifications, and I don't say I hold 10 certifications, is because these things expire. And that's the first thing to keep in mind. The more certifications you get, the busier you're going to be to renew them. So make sure you get the certifications that you really care about. And the more certifications you get, you could get into a situation where you have, every year some certifications to renew, and that's a lot of work. So just keep that in mind. Now, do certifications matter from the educator or education learning point of view? Absolutely. And this is the reason why you should do it. Obviously, if you have a career goal, go for it. But the learning aspect is what's most important. Because when you actually, go through the process of getting a certification, the things that you learn, it's going to cause you to learn things that you wouldn't normally learn otherwise. Maybe there's some commands that you just don't need at your current job or something, but you should know them in case it comes up one day. Maybe, a task will come up where that command will help you. You will learn so many things going through the process of getting certified while you're studying. And, because it causes you to go outside your comfort zone, explore things that you wouldn't normally explore, subtopics that you normally wouldn't care about. It's going to cause your knowledge level to increase dramatically. Now, that's, of course, assuming you don't rush your way through it. Take your time. Absorb the knowledge, read books, go to, watch training videos. I have training videos. Watch my training videos. Watch another set of training videos outside of my own, because I will warn you, my training content is not aligned to a certification program. So I don't want anyone to go through my training videos thinking like they're going to have the LPIC 2 topics memorized. I don't align towards any certification program, but my videos will definitely help you learn it. So you'll learn it. And in my case, every time I went to take a test or study for a certification, I learned so much, especially early in my career. It just caused my knowledge to go up. I felt so great about it. That's the real value that I think people will get from a certification. And in addition to that, some colleges actually accept certifications to allow you to test out of a class or get college credit. Now, when I went to get my master's degree, my last few semesters, I had an entire semester canceled out from just my certifications, causing me to graduate one entire semester sooner than I would have originally. So just keep in mind, depending on your school, they might actually take or give you credit for that, those certifications. So keep that in mind. So from an educator's perspective, I really think that this is the biggest thing, because again, you're going to learn a lot. And so don't cheat the system. Don't buy the voucher for the test and then, memorize a brain dump and take the test. You're cheating the system. You're cheating yourself, because the value of a certification is what you learn from it. And if you don't give yourself the opportunity to learn, then, you're just cheating everybody, yourself. You're cheating the community, cheapening the test. Learn it, know it, study it, enjoy it. The best thing to keep in mind is to enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to learn something. and to watch your skill set grow and your knowledge level grow. It's so rewarding. So take your time and enjoy it. Don't rush through it. You'll love it. I guarantee it. And the longer you spend on it, of course, the longer you're gonna, or the better chance you'll have at actually passing the test. So you might be wondering what some good certifications are that you might consider going for. I mean, in my opinion, you can't go wrong with AWS. I don't cover AWS on my channel, at least not yet. So unfortunately, I don't have any videos to guide you to or point you to here on my channel, at least not yet. It might be something I'll consider. I'm not exactly sure. There's plenty of people out there who already do this. So I'd have an uphill battle to differentiate myself here, to be completely honest with you. There's a lot of great content. Definitely learn AWS. It's a very big thing. I recommend getting entry-level AWS, second-level AWS. LPIC 1, 2, and 3 are great. I love those tests because they're hard. Those exams are difficult. So just keep that in mind. You got to know your stuff to get those to pass those exams. Also keep in mind the higher level you go in LPIC, there's 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 different levels. The higher up you go, the less training there is available. So what that means is, you go for your LPIC 1, you're going to find books, training videos, practice exams. There's going to be no shortage of training resources for you for LPIC 1. You get to LPIC 2 and the amount of training materials drastically declines to where you're down to, maybe just a few books. When I took mine, there was only one book in existence for the LPIC 2. One. That was it. No training videos at the time. I don't know if there are right now because I haven't looked, but at the time there's no training videos. There's just one book. That's it. And then when I was looking into getting LPIC 3, which I'm going to revisit and probably get, there was no training resources. I think I did find one book. It was a bit outdated, but it was barely even a book. It was more like a pamphlet. It maybe 50 pages, if that. Definitely not enough to learn. Now you get the exam objectives from the website of any certification provider, and you'll know what you got to know to learn. But it's always helpful to have a training book or resources or something in the LPIC 3. It's like a desert. There's just nothing there. I hope it's changed since I've last looked at it, which was probably about 2 years ago or more. Just keep that in mind. The Red Hat certifications are great because they require you to actually configure a real Linux machine. So I highly recommend the Red Hat certifications. Those are great. Now, one trap I don't want you guys to fall into, and this is actually a pet peeve of mine in the IT career, is that there's so many people out there that they'll be a master of one thing, right? I mean, they could be an amazing AWS person, Amazon Web Services, and they could just know it backwards, forwards, left, and right, and recite anything, and they could whip up a VPC and a bunch of EC2 instances like it's nobody's business, and they just make it look easy because they know it so well and they're so talented in it. But they just feel like, this is the only thing I should learn because this is what everybody's using, so I'm not going to learn the other stuff. This is my focus. That's a trap. Don't fall into that trap. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because if you are, for example, working at a company, and you're this all-star AWS person, you're certified in it, you got all these certifications, and you're now a subject matter expert, what happens when the company then decides to pivot to Google Cloud or something else? Oops, you're going to be in a real bind. So always make sure you have a plan B. Have your primary, fine. Have a plan B as well. So maybe get 2 certifications in one, maybe AWS. Go to the second level. After you do that, get at least an entry-level certification in something else, so at least you could follow along with another competing technology in case you're in a situation where your company is going to change. Because in IT, the biggest mistake you'll ever make is learning just one thing, putting all your eggs in one basket. You might have an amazing career at first, making a ton of money, impressing your manager, the company loves you. But as soon as you stop studying and you're just on that one thing and your company goes a different direction, they're going to leave you behind. It's just that simple. So putting all your eggs in one basket, don't. Learn, study everything. Have your primary, but read blogs, look at other competing technologies, continue to learn things outside of your comfort zone. Keep yourself fresh. Otherwise, I guarantee you'll regret it. You might not regret it now, maybe not even 5 years from now, but you will definitely regret it. So always keep yourself fresh. So a couple tips if you're looking into a certification, Linux or otherwise. Have no fewer than 3 training resources. Don't put all of your attention on one and be under the false impression that one training resource will prepare you for your certification. It could, but probably not. Because all of these training sites will all advertise, something like, we're your one-stop shop for everything you need to pass your exam. No, not really. Every time I've used a training resource, I've always had it be the case that they forgot something or they're not quite caught up to the curriculum. Have 3 training resources. So I could recommend 1 up-to-date book. So whatever certification you want, buy a book, look at the reviews, make sure it's got good reviews, make sure it's current. Buying a book from, about Amazon certifications that was published 2 years ago, a lot has changed in 2 years, believe me. Make sure it's current. So have a book, make sure it's a good one, well reviewed. Have a practice exam system. Just Google practice exams, make sure they are not brain dumps, which means that basically it's actual questions and answers because you're cheating yourself. But they'll have similar questions and answers that'll help you learn. Definitely make sure you have a good practice exam. If you can get 2 of them, great. And then one of your training resources should be a series of videos. Again, my videos are not aligned to any certification training curriculum, so do not use my videos thinking that you are going to pass the exam. Now, I feel that my videos are awesome and they will help you learn for sure. They will be a great additional thing to add to your list of training resources, but my videos are not to be a primary source of resources. But maybe some of the stuff that I go through in my videos might be something that another training site misses. So just keep that in mind. And if you're wondering, okay, what sites can I go to? I highly recommend Linux Academy for pretty much most of the certifications. They have a ton of content. They're not a sponsor. I love them. They have a great system. I tell all my employees, check out Linux Academy. So I'm not getting paid to recommend this to you guys. I'm just recommending it because it's true. They're awesome. Check out Linux Academy. You won't regret it. But again, even Linux Academy will probably advertise that they're, your one-stop shop. Probably not. They could be one of your 3 resources, but don't put your eggs in one basket for your training resources. Have multiple, and you'll stand the best possible chance of not only learning and taking the best benefit of what you're learning, but you'll also have the best chance of passing the exam as well. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I didn't really have any structure or script here. I'm basically just talking off the top of my head because I have a lot of thoughts about certifications. I wanted to get these thoughts to you guys. So let me know if you guys have any questions about certifications, either from the employer perspective or the educator/learning perspective, and I would be more than happy to give you guys my opinions. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I will get some more videos edited and uploaded very soon. So stay subscribed. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe, click that like button, do all the things, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for checking out my video. I really appreciate it. If you found it useful, click that like button. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe so you'll see the latest content as soon as it becomes available. If you want to help me out, there's links down below for my Patreon page, as well as links for purchasing my Linux books and also my affiliate store, which has a listing of Linux-compatible hardware that I've actually tested personally. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.